My name is Shivani Agrawal. I'm a 2013 fellow. I teach in Delhi. So when I joined about 2 years ago, academically they were at 0.3, which means that they were unable to read and comprehend anything at the grade 1 level. And so obviously compared to their higher income peers who were also in the 4th grade, they were much less academically speaking. Also in terms of just exposure to different opportunities in the world, I think they had very little in comparison. The first day I walked into school, I remember that they were not very interested in academics. They were quite happy to come to school for the most part, but it was mostly just about being in the building with their friends. When it came to the actual academics, they weren't very interested. They weren't invested in the idea of, learning English or Hindi, learning application of maths. And so I think that is something that has really changed over the last 2 years. When I think of when they're 25 years old, I have a very strong vision in my head of what I want them to be. I don't think in terms of I want them to be doing this job and that job, but I want them to have really high expectations for themselves, and I want them to be really happy with where they are, with absolutely no regrets, having tried everything. I want them, to be citizens of the world, really engaging with their environment, growing and developing throughout, with an ability to really reflect on themselves and think that if I am not given the solution for how to go forward, how can I create it myself? 2 years ago, someone at Teach for India asked me a question that has really resonated with me almost on a daily basis. She asked, would you put your own child in your classroom? The classroom that you've made for your students, would you put your own child? Is that the bar of excellence in every way in learning that you have created in that classroom? And that's something that question has really pushed me on a daily basis to really have extremely high expectations, and not just expectations for low-income students, expectations that I would have for any student in any country, any socio-economic background. I don't want to settle for good. I think good is the enemy of great. I really, really want to try and be the very best that I can be for these students, because at the end of the day, they need someone who is going to guide them through this process. They need someone who can provide them with the skills and the tools so that they can, on their own, use those skills and tools to navigate the world. I think the biggest habit and the biggest tool that I've tried to inculcate in each of them is that of self-reflection. Because if you're able to look within yourself and think about what do I need to do to grow, what's working, but what do I also need to improve upon? What do I need to do to achieve the goals that I have? If they are able to do that for any activity, any endeavor, they will be able to succeed in life. Within the classroom, it can be as small as what do I have to do to understand this maths concept? Thinking a little macro. If they want to get a job, what are the steps to get that kind of job? What does interview prep look like? What skills do I need for interview prep? I've tried very hard to make them understand that self-reflection is a key. I would be lying if I said that I walked into the class and I immediately felt that connection. I was very, very fond of them from the first second that I met them. But I think that connection grows with a feeling of trust and comfort and understanding. And I think it happened pretty fast. But I don't know what that turning point moment was. I think it was just many, many small things that add up, Many small moments of sitting next to a kid one-on-one and explaining a problem, listening to someone talking about a difficult situation she's having at home. It's these small micro moments that when they add up, I think the connection just comes naturally if you are really trying to listen to what these kids have to say. You aren't just here to teach, you aren't just here to, put the sums on the board, have them learn the objective and go home, but you're really here to create a very holistic experience, be, different roles, be like a mentor, a friend, a sister. I think if you have that kind of mindset, the connection just comes naturally for everyone. Teach for India has an amazing resource. There are so many teachers, and something that I found has been really valuable for me is collaborating with other teachers within the organization. Some of the most exciting activities and ideas that I've had have been best practices that I've adapted to my own classroom that I've learned from other teachers, and I think that's something that has really, really helped me push my kids to the next level. I think I've brought a lot of honesty to the classroom. It's something that I've been very open about from the first day, that I've told them from the first day that, I'm here to help you, and in turn I'm here to learn from you, but for this to work, there needs to be a lot of open communication between us. What are you struggling with? If I'm not teaching something in a way that makes you understand, please honestly tell me. And in return, if I feel like you are not on task, if I feel like you aren't displaying the values that I would like for you to be displaying, I will be letting you know as well. I think just that sense of honesty and of open communication has really, really helped us go forward. My students don't feel scared giving me feedback. So we always say teaching is leadership, and I mean, I very firmly believe that teaching and leadership are very intertwined. I don't think there's any one mold for what makes a good teacher, because every teacher has their own style and different ways of doing things. I do think the common thread between some of the greater teachers is just having a very strong vision for your kids, one that you share with your students, and for which you create structures so that the vision is self-sustaining. So one thing that I want to do post the fellowship is I want to study public policy. I want to find solutions for increasing the effectiveness of school leaders, whether it's through training programs or otherwise. I want to find solutions to make leaders invested, and as a result, make teachers feel better supported, better trained, better incentivized to do the best they can do every single day in the classroom. I've also really learned, one of the things that I learned is that education isn't as simple as just putting in, it's not as simple as putting children, teachers, and school buildings together. There's so much more to it. It's not just academics. A really holistic education includes academics, as well as values and mindsets, as well as giving the students exposure to multiple opportunities.